time, a long, long time ago, in a forest that was filled with sweet-smelling flowers, there lived a woodcutter and his wife, and a daughter who strolled for hours among the trees and soft blowing leaves, for she'd lived within the forest all her life. One day her mother said to her, "Your grandma is not well, so go and take this basket full of food. Wrap up well, don't stop to smell the flowers on the way. Don't talk to strangers, for there are dangers. Please go this minute, don't dawdle or delay." "Yes, mother," said the dutiful daughter, getting down her cloak and hood. "I'll take it via the short cut through the wood." And saying thus, she slipped away with the basket full of food. Her mother's words went unheeded as she sauntered on her way, smelling all the flowers and oh so fragrant briar. And she forgot about her granny lying ill. And she came upon a stranger, and forgetting about danger, looked and smiled with hand outstretched. "Hello," she sweetly trilled. "Well, hello yourself," came the suave reply from the stranger dressed in black. "My, you're a pretty wench and merry." "I am," she said, and with measured tread she took him by the hand. "I'm off to see my granny with a pannier full of food." And the stranger looked and smiled and said, "Oh, good. I'll walk along the path with you, for you shouldn't be alone. A pretty wench like you attracts the wrong sort in a wood." Well, of course, the girl was smitten by his charm and ready wit. "But I can't let Granny see me with this man." So with her senses reeling, she shrugged off this dreamy feeling, saying, "I must go and see my grandma as quickly as I can." He kissed her hand, and with a sweeping bow, strode off along the pathway through the wood. And a short cut brought him to a cottage, and on hearing sounds inside, he knocked loudly once, and a moment later the door was opened wide. A little old lady answered with streaming eyes and nose, and the stranger, guessing this was Granny, struck an artful pose. "Good morrow, dame. Do you think that I could trouble you for a drink? I've wandered from the path and lost my way." "Why, yes, of course, there's nothing worse than getting lost when you have a thirst. There's a bench outside, just rest a while. I'm off to gather wood for my diminishing pile." "Do you think that you should go? You're really not looking well," he said. "Oh, it's just a cold," she said through a fit of sneezing. And with that she waved a cheery hand and set off for the forest. The stranger sat upon the bench, listening to her wheezing. Some time later, the girl plus basket arrived at Granny's door, having spent some time in the forest smelling flowers. She knocked and went inside, but thought the place looked cold and empty. Perhaps had been that way for several hours. She went into the bedroom. Mayhap Grandma's fast asleep, for she thought she saw a granny shape in bed. And tiptoeing lightly across the floor, she gasped at what she saw and said, "Oh, Granny, what big eyes you have! So blue and oh, so deep." "All the better to see you with. Have you a kiss for your dear old Gran?" Well, it wasn't what Grandma usually said, that's clear. "And, Granny, what big ears you have." "All the better to hear your dulcet tones, my dear." She was obviously delirious. And Granny, what big hands you have." "All the better to caress your lovely face, my dear." At this, the girl with faltering steps drew near, and Granny's outstretched hands drew her softly to the bed. And the hands, remembered gnarled and rough, were smooth and warm and strong, and caressed the girl's rapt face with sweet desire. and she never wondered where her grandma was, as she drowned within those eyes so full of fire. Was this the wrong sort that the stranger meant? Or in Granny's absence, a moment heaven sent? She took it. Oh, what's that I hear? Oh, bad news, I fear. For Granny was attacked whilst in the forest gathering fuel by a wolf who gobbled her all up for dinner. Poor Granny, isn't life cruel?
Hey there, little Red Riding Hood, you sure are looking good. You're everything a big bad wolf could want.